This is breaking news from RTV6, working for you.
We begin with heartbreaking news from the racing world about a member of one of the legendary families in auto sports.
Today, John Andretti lost his very public and hard-fought battle against colon cancer.
John was a racing veteran, a champion of sick children, and known as one of the nicest guys in the sport. Right now, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is paying tribute to John, lighting up the scoring pylon in his honor. It's a place he knew so well and raced many times. Sports director Dave First is here with more. Dave.
Hi, guys. Good evening. A racer at heart, a father, son, husband, dad, you name it, one of the most giving people you'll ever meet. The sports world is mourning the loss of Indy's own John Andretti tonight, who died today after a 3-year battle with colon cancer. You ask him, John Andretti, he was an IndyCar racer. Like his father Aldo, his uncle Mario. He competed in 12 Indy 500s. Nothing beat the years of 91 and 92 when he competed against Mario and cousins Michael and Jeff. His most success in racing really came in stock cars. First career win came at the July race out at Daytona, winning for the legendary Cale Yarbrough, and later won for Richard Petty in Martinsville. But once his career on the track started slowing down, his career off it was picking up with something called Race for Riley. Last summer, he finished his 23rd event with money going for Riley Hospital for Children. But it was 3 years ago when he was first diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. Devastating news that affected, of course, his entire family. We sat down with him that following May. Is this more difficult to watch in your family than it is for you to deal with this?
It's way harder to watch because it's unfair to them. I've said it several times. It's unfair to them that I'm even in this condition because this could have been prevented. You can sit and mope and do all the things you want to do that you think that you would expect to do. None of that's happened to me. I mean, and a lot of it's because of my family around me. They just, you know, if you do, you're losing, and nobody in his family wants to lose.
A shot there of his family, wife Nancy, son Jarrett, daughters Olivia and Amelia. Our thoughts are with them tonight. Coming up all new at 6, a deeper look into John's remarkable life and career. John Andretti was 56.
An amazing man. And RTV6 is working for you and staying on top of the eviction of residents from a West Side mobile home park.
Today we learned the Attorney General's office started delivering checks to residents who will lose their homes next month. RTV6 was the first to expose concerns of residents at the I-70 mobile home park back in August. At the time, residents were told they would have to leave by October 15th. The eviction was halted after a series of reports filed by RTV6. The Indiana Attorney General's office issued a restraining order against the landowners. That order halted the evictions until each resident received payment for their unmovable mobile home or the title. Leonard Radcliffe told us he was offered a little more than $2,200.
They come out and give everybody checks that didn't have titles for the trailers and told us we have 21 days to move off the property. That's better than what we was expecting, so it's be a pretty good outcome, I guess, after all.
Radcliffe has lived at the park for 8 years. He doesn't know where he's going to go after this. Residents tell us that staffers from the Attorney General's office plan to return tomorrow with more payments. We're also following a developing story from the east side. Metro Police are investigating a shooting that injured 3 people at a warehouse. Police say 2 men and a woman were shot around 2 o'clock. The scene is off Shadeland Avenue on the East 32nd Street area. It appears 2 people were in an argument. Shots were fired, which led to the injuries of those 3 people. Stay with RTV6 for updates to this story.
A Tri-West High School teacher accused of sexual misconduct with a student will appear in court next week. The preliminary hearing for Tyler Bruce is scheduled for February 5th in Hendricks County Court. He is charged with child seduction and obstruction of justice. Bruce is now on unpaid suspension as the school district moves to fire Bruce. And former Tri-West principal Adam Benner is due in court on March 3rd. Benner is charged with failure to make a report of allegations of child abuse to law enforcement or the Department of Child Services. He received a summons to appear in court and will not be arrested at this time. The failure to report charge is a misdemeanor. Benner has not issued a statement on the charge.
A Johnson County grandfather is taking legal action because he says his vision is permanently damaged.
It happened following what many would call a routine eye test. Call 6 Investigates Rafael Sanchez has a story you will only see on RTV6.
Alan Zimmerman sees good health as a key to a good life. But everything changed forever after an eye checkup.
I just trusted their decisions, their guidance, and it was wrong, and I found out the hard way.
Back in March 2016, Allen went to OSSIP in Greenwood, complaining about blurriness in his right eye among several symptoms. He had appointments, one on March the 22nd, the other on March the 25th of 2016. On those days, he was seen by two separate doctors at the same location. Allen says his doctors failed to diagnose a retinal detachment in his right eye because they did not dilate his eyes and instead depended on a machine during the checkup. The result, Allen has permanent vision loss in his right eye.
I've had to alter everything that I've done all my life, and I'm 65, in order to try to accommodate for something that is I'm never going to get it back.
One of the biggest setbacks, he can no longer coach his grandchildren on how to accurately shoot a basketball, a sport he loves.
It's blurry. I can't see to the right as well as I used to. Even shooting things straight ahead, pretty much need both eyes to be working the same together. You don't shoot a basketball with one eye shut.
In 2018, the veteran filed a complaint with the medical review panel. In 2019, 3 separate doctors looked over the case. So between October and December of 2019, doctors from Bloomington, Muncie, and Newcastle separately put in writing that based on the evidence, OSSIP doctors failed to comply with the appropriate standard of care.
The treatment that Allen should have received should be optometry 101. This should be a routine thing. The automatic response is to perform a dilated eye exam, and that checks the retina. That was not done.
Allen never envisioned being in this legal fight, but he says he plans to see it through the end. Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
And Allen has filed a lawsuit against OSSIP and the doctors. He's encouraging people to stay on top of their medical exams, and if there is ever a doubt, to get a second opinion. We reached out to the lawyers for OSSIP and doctors Mary Beth Worley and Amanda Denninger. And RTV6 received this statement. We cannot comment because this matter is in active litigation.
Now to the latest in the spread of the coronavirus. Today, the World Health Organization declared the outbreak a public health emergency of international concern. This comes as health officials today report the first U.S. case of person-to-person spread of the virus. The man is married to the Chicago woman who got sick from the virus after she returned from a trip to Wuhan, China, the epicenter of the outbreak. The new case is the 6th reported in the U.S. At last count, more than 7,700 people around the world have been sickened by the virus, and 170 have died. All the deaths are in China. Here in Indiana, there are no confirmed cases, but as our Nicole Griffin is finding out, local hospitals are preparing.
In response to the outbreak of the coronavirus in China, local hospitals here in Indiana, like Franciscan Health, are taking proactive measures. It's an effort to make sure they are ready if they do receive a patient suspected of having the virus. Hospitals across the state are busy. At Franciscan Health, rooms are full of patients battling the flu. This comes as physicians and hospital staff members prepare to handle potential cases of the coronavirus. Dr. Christopher Doring says they now have procedures in place to monitor and screen patients who may have traveled outside of the country and were potentially exposed.
We actually have had a scenario that played out that we were concerned enough to implement some of those types of precautions with our staff. So that was actually a really good sort of dry run, if you will. Test case ended up not being a case, thankfully.
Those precautions include keeping a patient suspected of having the virus quarantined until testing is complete. All staff dealing with the patient would be required to wear eye protection and a mask, typically used in tuberculosis cases. Our camera was not allowed in this area, but at Franciscan Health, they have protective barriers and isolation areas to protect staff and patients from airborne exposure to the coronavirus.
Be vigilant about coronavirus or any infectious disease that comes from around the world. Keep up with it, know what you need to know, but don't overreact or certainly go into panic mode by any means.
Dr. Doring says here in central Indiana, the flu is much more prevalent and more likely to affect patients right now. Working for you on the south side, Nicole Griffin, RTV6.
State health officials, along with Franciscan health officials, are continuing to monitor the evolving situation with the coronavirus by working with local and state public health agencies. They are prepared to take additional steps if needed.
Now to Washington, D.C., where the president's impeachment trial is nearing a critical phase. After senators wrap up their questions, they will then vote on whether to include witness testimony and documents. Republicans have blocked previous efforts by Democrats to do so, but it now comes down to 4 undecided senators. ABC's Mona Kosar-Abdi is in Washington with more.
The court of impeachment.
Chief Justice John Roberts Thursday commencing the final day of the question and answer phase of President Trump's impeachment trial.
Mr. Chief Justice.
Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin's question setting the stage for the House managers to further argue the need for former National Security Advisor John Bolton to testify.
The administration continues to obstruct wholly our efforts to get the emails and correspondence that we have asked for. That obviously can be remedied by this body with the appropriate subpoenas, namely a subpoena to Ambassador Bolton.
Democrats say the allegations in Bolton's unpublished book, which reportedly state the president told Bolton he withheld military aid from Ukraine for political purposes, underscores their argument. The president's lawyers countering those claims in response to a question from Republican Senators Patrick Philbin stated that it is the president's right to block witnesses, including Bolton, without the presumption of guilt.
The concept of saying that when the president asserts constitutionally grounded prerogatives of his office, that is evidence of guilt, is a completely bogus assertion.
This comes as senators gear up for a critical vote on whether to allow new witnesses and documents, which could come down to 4 undecided Republican senators. If witnesses are allowed, some Republicans have insisted Joe and Hunter Biden be among those called. The president's legal team now arguing Trump launched investigations into the 2 men for both national and personal interests.
It's not campaign interference for credible information about wrongdoing to be brought to light, if it's credible information.
What president is not going to think he has a credible reason to investigate his opponent?
The head of the Federal Election Commission has previously said accepting foreign assistance in an election is a crime, and the FBI director says if a campaign receives an offer, they should contact his agency.
And White House lawyers say it's Democrats that are trying to interfere with the election by trying to remove President Trump from office and in turn the 2020 ballot, noting that 4 Democratic senators acting as jurors in this trial are also campaigning to run against Trump. Mona Kosar-Abdi, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
More to come this hour on RTV6. A new high-tech tool could help detectives solve crimes and dissect crash scenes faster. We're going to show you how 3D plays a role in the process. That's at 5:30 on the Now Indy.
And just minutes away here at 5, a big name in the IndyCar world makes a big announcement about his future. Tony Kanaan explains when he plans to downshift from racing.
And we'll talk about snow potential specifically for the first half of tomorrow and then look into the changing weekend forecast.
Well, big changes are on the way for some Indigo routes. It's all part of a transit system overhaul taking place over the next few years. RTV6's Megan Sanctorum is working for you to find out why Indigo is making these changes and how riders say it will impact their commutes.
Increasing efficiency and making it easier for riders to get to their destination. That's what Indigo leaders say the goal is for the new grid-based route system. Currently, Indigo operates on a hub and spoke system, meaning most people needing to make a transfer have to go downtown to the transit center to do it. They say a grid-based system will eliminate the need for that on many routes. A majority of these changes will happen over this summer, but the Broad Ripple area is one that's already seen route adjustments. Route 17 was eliminated. The Indigo website now advises riders to take Route 18 to College and Broad Ripple, where they can catch the red line. Some people in the area say they support public transit, but they worry about the loss of direct routes.
They're losing a direct line to downtown Indianapolis, which to me is not a progression. It's a backward movement.
And they're not sure the system is currently operating in a way to support the proposed changes.
because Indigo is not really running with the precision that's necessary for that kind of grid system right now.
Indigo leaders say they're confident the changes will be successful in the long run, and these updates are long overdue.
Investment and improvements haven't really happened and really been looked into for almost 70 years. If you look at our map from 1945, it looks very similar to the map today.
Leaders say they want to hear from the public as they make these adjustments, and they encourage anyone with questions or issues with their routes to contact them. Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
And we will have much more on this story tonight at 6 o'clock. In the meantime, to see a list of upcoming route changes and a map of the proposed grid-based system, you can head to our website, theindychannel.com.
One of IndyCar's most popular drivers and our driving analyst during the month of May announced today that 2020 will be his last season in the series, but he won't be done racing after that. Tony Kanaan making that announcement today at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 2020 will be his 23rd season in open-wheel racing. TK said he will race on 5 ovals this season, including the Indy 500. He won that race here in 2013. Now 45 years old, Kanaan is not ready to talk about retirement just yet.
Excited for the future, you know, the unknown, what's going to happen, opportunities that will come, and we'll see. I mean, still have a job to do. I still get to race in this place, and, you know, 5 more, and we'll see what's going to happen.
Kanaan hopes to continue racing here at Indy. The final IndyCar Oval this season is at Gateway Motorsports Park near St. Louis. That will be on August 22nd.
May, just around the corner. Don't think it's not. It sneaks up on you.
May 24th.
Yes.
Looking forward to it. We'll talk about the forecast for that a little bit later.
All right.
We're in the now right now. 36 degrees. Temperatures have had a small range the last few days. 31 to 36 today, a 5-degree temperature range. Typically, it would be a 15-degree rise from morning low to afternoon high. Okay, let's talk about that headline. This should not be a big deal. It'd be a little bit of a bigger deal just because of the timing. Anytime you mix snow and the morning drive together, that's a recipe for some trouble. Inch or less of accumulation, and notice I say especially south. I'll define that for you. 1 o'clock in the morning, just cloudy skies. By the time we get up at 6 a.m., you can see most of the snow in the southern third of the state, from Terre Haute to Greensburg south, lifting to the north. 9 a.m. Terre Haute west of Indy. So this will be kind of a close call right along Interstate 70 and south. Those of you to the north, don't be surprised if you're not seeing any morning snow. There we are at noon, and then off to the east in the afternoon, pushing into Ohio, and our temperature should melt off what little accumulation we expect. But again, the potential for maybe an inch Bedford and Seymour, and then less than that as you come to the north. I just want to make sure no one's caught off guard first thing in the morning. We've got our RTV6 app and Storm Shield app that will keep you updated wherever you go. You're on the go, you've always got the information. Temperatures tomorrow, again, with the morning light snow, southern half of the state. Temperature warms just above freezing by noon. We'll settle into about 37 tomorrow afternoon for the high temperature. And the warming trend, boy, you'll feel it as we get to Sunday. Temperatures really balloon the other way. The best part about Sunday, not just the fact that it will be 53, but we'll have sunshine to go with 53 degrees. Tomorrow, clouds dominate once again. That early shot of snow in the morning, southern half of the state. Then we'll step into the weekend. The chance for a little mix is there Saturday morning, just a 20% chance. 43 for the high. Then we jump into the 50s, as we mentioned on Sunday. The winds over the weekend pick up. Saturday, we'll have wind gusts to 20 miles per hour, a little stronger. Temperatures close to 40 to the north, in the lower 40s from Indianapolis on to the south. Watch this. 11 o'clock Saturday night. There's the cloud cover as we get going on Sunday. Some clouds in the northern half of the state, and then watch the clouds sweep away. That means sunshine sweeps in. 7-day forecast still very mild as we get to Monday and Tuesday in the 50s. The warmer it feels early next week, the colder a 38-degree high will feel on Wednesday and Thursday. And as part of that transition from the mild temperatures to much colder, we do expect some rain.
All right. Thanks, Kevin, for that.
Well, baby pictures, public appearances, you name it. It's been an exhausting week for Butler's next mascot, the milestone he marked today. Coming up.
Keller and Keller.
Just last week, we were all introduced to Butler University's next mascot, Blue 4, and today the young bulldog is already celebrating a milestone. Just like parents who mark monthly milestones with their newborn babies, Blue 4 is getting monthly pictures to mark his growth. You see him at 1 month, then 2 months, and today he is 3 months old, according to his Twitter account. He's had a busy week. TV appearances, his public introduction to the Butler fans at Hinkle Fieldhouse, meeting Indiana's first dog, Henry, and stopping by the Butler president's office. Blue 4 is in training to take over when Blue 3 retires in May. He's done a lot in 3 months.
He has done a lot in 3 months, and look, he was a little tired.
Busy pup. Needs all the naps.
Busy boy there. All new at 6 o'clock here on RTV6. Indiana's infant mortality rate is one of the worst in the country. Tonight, the push from a local mom to make an addition to newborn health screenings in an effort to save lives.
But first on the Now, Indy, mother and daughter, needle and thread, creating beautiful memories and wearable works of art. You're watching RTV6.